Hi, in this video, let's take a look at some tips on how to get better footage out of your DJI Pocket 3. These are things you can put to use straight away. Currently, we're putting together an entire course that covers everything about the Pocket 2 and the Pocket 3, so look out for that soon. Now, I know that everybody says shoot in 24 frames per second for cinematic footage, and this is great for talking head scenes or people moving generally or cars and things like that. However, be aware when you do that, you can't slow down 24 frames per second. So if you're not sure that you're going to slow down some clips later on in post, then you can shoot at 60 frames per second. I'm going to shoot at 4K, 30 frames per second, and in D-Log M. And I know that this image looks flat, but it allows you to capture the most out of the dynamic range. Now, if you're not into color grading in post, DJI will supply a free LUT that'll convert your log footage into the normal Rec 709 footage that we're all used to. So you just gotta simply put that LUT on top of your log footage and it'll get you to Rec 709. However, if you're not comfortable using log, no problem, just use a normal color space. And for the majority of the cases, this looks like great. It's actually a great output straight out of the camera. One thing I would suggest is that you do, however, get yourself a set of ND filters, even if you're shooting in auto. And this helps slow down the shutter speed and it'll help with that natural motion blur. But how do we know when our exposure is right? Well, a great way to do this is to use the free Mimo app. This will allow you to look at the histogram and also get a better look at the image on a bigger display. Click on the three dots at the bottom left and make sure the Pro mode is on. Under color, choose either normal if you're not going to do color grading in post, or D-Log M if you are. And then you can scroll down and turn on the histogram. On the front menu, choose 4K 30 frames per second, choose manual, and choose a low ISO if outside in a sunny day, and a shutter speed of 1/60. And we can see that ISO is really low and we're totally blown out because we need an ND filter on there. Now, the only thing I can do, I could change my shutter speed and just keep changing it until I get something like that. So I don't have an ND filter, so I could do that. So I'm going to get the ND filters now because it's too bright. So there's a couple of ND filters. If we take a look at these, you can see maybe that they're 1 through 5 and 6 through 9. So I'm going to use a 6 through 9 one. So what I'm going to do is put this ND filter on. I've set it to 7 and I'm just going to drop it on here. And now we can see we don't have any zebras anymore. And if we adjust it a little bit, we can see maybe if we adjust it to 6 even. That's on 6. Everything's looking good. All right, we can press record now. That's with an ND filter on. We're at 1/60, 30 frames per second. ISO is at 50. The EV is at -0.3. Now we can simply choose the ND filter that makes our exposure look good, and the histogram is central in the graph. And as a guide, you can just look at the EV value to make sure it's down around 0. Now if you're like most of us, you normally take a lot of takes when you're filming around, and these retakes basically fill up a lot of wasted shots in your memory cards. And later on, what you normally do is look through them one at a time and then go back through and delete the ones that you don't want. But this takes a lot of wasted time and effort. So there's an easier way to do this. Let's say you're filming and you're walking along and you know that you stumble or you weren't quite steady with the shot, and you know that's not what you're going to use. All you got to do is simply hold down the record button, and then you'll see a red ring go around, and it'll actually delete or cancel that recording for you. So at the end of the day, you pretty much go home with the clips that you want to keep. Now if you're filming alone, using the Mimo app is a great tool. It allows you to see what the Pocket sees on a bigger display. It also allows you to make sure your framing is the way you want it, whether you're using the rule of thirds or something else. And it also allows you to start and stop recording remotely. Especially if you're you're filming yourself as a lone shooter, this is a handy little tool. And it also allows you to turn on zebras and the histogram to assist you with exposure settings, as it's hard to see sometimes on the small Pocket screen, even though the Pocket 3 screen is much better than the previous models. The other great thing about the Pocket is that it's a great way to be able to film discreetly. It's not like carrying around a huge mirrorless camera on a huge gimbal that attracts attention. No one really notices you just wandering around with this in your hand. The Pocket is also really good for getting static shots or creative shots. You can simply set it up on a shelf, a table, and use the active track function, which can lock onto you if you're vlogging, for example, to keep you in frame. Another useful feature is to use the active track to keep a subject in frame for a hyperlapse. This makes it much easier to track a subject as you move. All right, we have a nice little scene here with the mountain behind me, so try to get some creative shots where you can take the Pocket, and because of its size, you're able to put it in little places that you can't put a bigger camera. So let's put this down on the floor and then start it off and then get some B-roll shots where it just, walk past it and it'll get your feet in the shot, and just some extra little angles that you're not always doing this head height type of shot. So let's do that. So let's put it on the ground, anywhere here, turn it on, just make sure we're okay. We got all our settings right. Then turn it on and just walk past it. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and comment on any other topics you'd like to see, or maybe things you do for creative shots. And that's it for this video. Consider giving us a free like or subscribe if you want to see more like this. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.